Hello everyone, welcome to a session on Adobe Photoshop. Okay, so in this we took a general tour of the interface and its main features. So this time we will learn all about Photoshop tools and the toolbar. The toolbar is where Photoshop holds the many tools we have to work with. There are tools for making selection, for cropping and retouching images, for adding shapes and type, and many more. So we will start with a look at the toolbar itself, including how the toolbar is organized and how to access the many tools hidden within it. Then we will look at each and every tool in the toolbar with a quick summary of what each tool is used for. So as you all got an email from Mr. Vikas that how to download Adobe Photoshop from Adobe website, as you are working from home in this period, so you can download it for free as a college student. So you can access, you can use your ID and password to download Adobe Creation, Adobe Creative Cloud. So once you download this thing and installed, just double click on it and you will able to see all the apps that are already installed in your computer. In this instance, I have installed Photoshop, Illustrator, Animate, Media Encoder, and Camera Raw. So depending upon your requirement, you can download different other tools from Adobe company. For this module, we are using Photoshop. So I'm just going to click on Open. So for it will take some time, so we have to be patient. So we're still loading with the extension, so you have to wait depending upon your computer. Sometimes if it is of good computational power, it will take or load easily. In some of the laptops it takes a little bit of time. So this is the newer version that we are using, that is CC 2020. In the lab we are using a previous version, so you will be able to look and feel might be a bit different, but normally the layout remains the same, nothing different. So still opening. Okay, so now it is opening. So the layout or the theme that has been used in Photoshop CC 2020 is a bit different. Okay, so don't worry about it, the layout is as similar as the previous one. Okay, so we are going to create a new. So here it's give us the default items, or like for example the predefined methods, like what you want to use as a photo, default photo with 7x5 or 300 pixels per inch. We have landscape 3x2, landscape 6x4, 7x5, depending upon your requirement. And these are the other print, art and illustration, web, mobile, film and video. Okay, so we are just going to look at how we are going to use this tool. So by default it is giving us the width 5, height width 7, height 5 inches. If you want to change with this, as centimeters, or you want to change the height and width, if you want to change the resolution pixels per inch, or if you want pixels per centimeter, so you can change it from here. Then over here we are going to use different color mode. Okay, so RGB, if you're using it for computer, that is very good. And if you're going to use as a poster or industrial size printing, then you have to choose CMYK color. So for computer, RGB color is best suitable. Then you can check what bits rate you want to use for your file, 8-bit, 16-bit, or 32-bit. Depends upon your preference. If you want to change the background color, you can still change the background color. Okay, so I'm just going to deal with a little bit change so we can have a slight different background color of a landscape or photo. So I'm going to click on create. Okay, now so on the top is the file menu. Okay, here you have the different tool selection menu. Now first we are going to talk about the toolbar. So if you look over here on the left hand side, or how you say that, left of the screen. Okay, so this is the toolbar. Okay, so you'll find so many different things available over here on the toolbar. Let's look how Photoshop toolbar is organized. While it may seem like the tools are listed randomly, but there's actually a logical order to it. So with related tools grouped together. So what are those grouping? So at the top we have Photoshop Move. Okay, so this is Photoshop Move and selection tools. So from here, that rectangle marquee tool, lasso tool, and object selection tool. These are move and selection tool. So this is one of the group. The other one is crop and slice tools. So this is the crop and this is frame tool. This comes under the category of crop and slice tools. Then we have a measurement tools. So this measurement tool is the eyedropper tool. And from here, this is a spot healing brush tool, brush, stamp, history brush tool, eraser tool, gradient tool, blur tool, and dodge tool. These are categorized as retouching and painting tools. Then we have another category that is drawing and type tools. So pen tool is the famous one. Then we have horizontal type text. Then we have path selection tool and rectangle tool. These are called as drawing and type tools. Then we have hand tool and zoom tool. These two comes under the category of navigation tools. So these are the normal tools that are available in our toolbar. Each tool in the toolbar is represented by an icon, and there are many more tools available than what we see. A small arrow in the bottom right corner of an tool icon means that there are more tools hiding behind in the same spot. So if you look at the arrow over here, if you click over here, so there are some other tools that are hiding, but when you click it you will not able to see. Okay, so for that you have to hold your click button or you can right click it. Then you will able to see the different icon as a flyout menu, which will open listing to other tools that are available. For example, in lasso tool, we have polygonal lasso tool and magnetic lasso tool. So this is one of the features that you can use, and this comes very handy when you are doing some images. The default tool, the tools that initially displayed in each spot in the toolbar are called or known as default tool. Like for example, this is a default lasso tool. The rectangle marquee tool. So this is a default tool. So notice after that choosing the different tools, for example, if I change here from round rectangle tool, so then you will see that this tool is replaced from the default tool to the selected one. Okay, so this is one of the features that you can use, and it is very good for when you are playing with the images. So now we have learned how Photoshop toolbar is organized, let's look at the tools themselves. Below is a I forgot to tell you about the columns. Like if you want to arrange your icons in two columns, so you can select these double arrows over here, so it will be easier for you to spot, or depending upon how you want to look at your tools. So here's a quick summary of each of the Photoshop tools, along with a little bit of description of what each tool is used for. The tools, if we look from the order from here, okay, so first one is the move tool. Okay, so the move tool is used to move layers, selection and guides within a Photoshop document. Enable auto select to automate select the layer or group you are clicking on. So this tool is used for these purposes. Then we have the rectangle marquee tool. It is used to draw rectangle selection outlines. Press and hold shift as you drag to draw a square selection. So if we are going to press shift, and we can so in this manner, because we are having two types of images, Photoshop works on vector, so the other is raster. Raster works with pixel by pixel, and when you are going to make an image big or small, the quality will be decreased. So by doing this thing in Photoshop, we use vector images. So it uses a mathematical model to enlarge or make the images smaller, so the picture quality does not have any effect. So if you press the hold, you can create a proper size rectangle. Okay, so as we were talking about the rectangle marquee tool, I forgot to tell you about the other tools that are there, that is artboard tool, that allows you to easily design multiple web or user experience layout for different devices or screen sizes. So within the rectangle marquee tool, we have elliptical marquee tool, single row marquee tool, single column marquee tool. So elliptical marquee tool draws elliptical selection outline. Same procedure, you press and hold shift to draw a selection in a perfect circle. Yeah. And The single row marquee tool in Photoshop selects a single row of pixels in the image from left to right. Use the single column marquee tool to select a single column of pixels from top to bottom. Then we come to lasso tool. So lasso tool with this tool you can draw a free form selection outline around an object. So it is a very handy tool when you're cropping the pictures or sometimes cutting the pictures, pasting the pictures and so on. Then we have polygonal lasso tool. Just click around an object with the polygonal lasso tool to surround it with a polygonal straight edge selection outline. Then we have magnetic lasso tool. The magnetic lasso tool snaps the selection outline to the edges of the object as you move your mouse cursor around it. Then we have object selection tool. So new as of Photoshop CC 2020, the object selection tool will let you select an object just by dragging a rough selection outline around it. So we will be looking at all these tools later on, the exact working. So I'm just explaining these tools so you will have the idea and grasp of how these things work in excuse me, Photoshop CC 2020. Then we have quick selection tool which lets you easily select an object simply by painting over it with a brush. Enable auto enhancing option bar for better quality selection. Then we have the magic wand tool. Photoshop magic wand tool selects areas of similar color with a single click. The tolerance value in the option bar sets the range of color that will be selected. Now we are going to discuss about the crop and slice tools. So crop tool is used to crop an image and remove unwanted areas. Uncheck delete crop pixel in the option bar to crop an image non-destructively. Then we have perspective crop tool. Use the perspective crop tool to both crop an image and fix common distortion or perspective problem. Slice tool divides an image or layout into smaller sections or slices which can be exported and optimized separately. Slice select tool used to select individual slices created with a slice tool. Then frame toolkit. It is as new of Photoshop CC 2019. The frame tool lets you place images into rectangle or elliptic shapes. Then we have the measurement tool. First one is the eyedropper tool. Photoshop eyedropper tool sample colors in an image. Increase sample size in the option bar for better representation of sampled area color. 3D material eyedropper tool is used to sample material from a 3D model in Photoshop. Color sample tool is used to display color values for the selected sampled area in an image. Up to 4 areas can be sampled at a time. View the color information in Photoshop info panel. Then we have the ruler tool. The ruler tool measures distance, location and angles, great for positioning images and elements exactly where you want them. Note tool allows you to attach text-based notes to your Photoshop document, either for yourself or for others working on the same project. Notes are saved as part of the .psd file. So when we are going to save the files, then I'm going to discuss about what is .psd file. The last is 123 count tool. This count tool used to manually count the number of objects in an image, or have a Photoshop automatically count multiple selected areas into an image. Now we are going to move on to the retouching and painting tools. So the spot healing brush tool. The spot healing brush tool in Photoshop quickly removes blemish and other minor problem areas in an image. Use a brush size slightly larger than the blemish for best result. Then we have healing brush tool. The healing brush lets you repair larger problem areas in an image by painting over them. Holding Alt and click to the sample good texture, then paint over the problem area to repair it. This is how we use the healing brush tool. Then we have the patch tool. With the patch tool, we draw a freeform selection outline around the problem area, then repair it by dragging the selection outline over an area of good texture. Content aware move tool. Use the content aware move tool to select and move part of an image to a different area. Photoshop automatically fills in the hole in the original spot using elements from the surrounding areas. Then we have the red eye tool. The red eye tool removes common red eye problems in a Photoshop resulting from a camera flash. This is very common when we are using mobile phone for pictures. Then we have this brush tool. Brush tools in Photoshop is a primary painting tool. Use it to paint brush strokes on a layer or on a layer mask. Then we have pencil tool. The pencil tool is another Photoshop painting tools, but while with brush tool can paint soft edge brush stroke, the pencil tool always paints with hard edges. Then we have color replacement tool, which uses to easily replace the color of an object with a different color. Mix brush tool. Unlike the standard brush tool, the mix brush in Photoshop can simulate elements of real painting, such as mixing and combining color and paint wetness. Then we have the clone stamp tool. The clone stamp tool is the most basic retouching tool. It samples pixels from one area of an image and paints them over the pixel in another area. Pattern sample tool. It's used to paint a pattern over an image. Then the next is history brush tool. It paints a snapshot from an earlier step, that is the history state, into the current version of the image. Choose the previous state from the history panel. And then we have the art history brush tool. The art history brush tool also paints a snapshot from an earlier history state into an image, but does not stylized brush stroke. Then we have the eraser tool. Eraser tool in Photoshop permanently erases pixel on a layer. It can also be used to paint in the previous history state. Background eraser tool erases areas of similar color in an image by painting over them. Then Magic Eraser tool is similar to the Magic Wand tool in that it selects areas of similar color with a single click, but the Magic Eraser tool then permanently deletes those areas. Gradient tool draws gradual blends between multiple colors. Gradient editor lets you create and customize your own gradient. Paint bucket tool fills in an area of similar color with your foreground color or a pattern. The tolerance value determines the range of color that will be affected around the area where you clicked. 3D material drop tool used in 3D modeling. 3D material drop tool lets you sample a material from one area and then drop it into another area of your model, mesh or 3D layer. Then we have the blur tool. The blur tool blurs and softens area you paint over with the tool. We have sharpen tool. Sharpen tool sharpens area you paint over. Smudge tool smudges and smears the area you paint over. It can also be used to create a finger paint effect. Then we have the dosh tool. Dosh tool paint over areas in the image with dosh tool to lighten them. Then we have the burn tool. The burn tool will darken the areas you paint over. Sponge tool paint over areas with sponge to increase and decrease color saturation. Now we are going to look into the drawing and type tools that are available in Adobe Photoshop CC 2020. First one in the drawing and type tools is the pen tool. Okay, so the pen tool allows you to draw extremely precise path, vector shapes or selection. Freeform pen tool allows you to draw freehand paths or shapes. Anchor points are automatically added to the point as you draw. Then we have curvature pen tool. It's an easier, simplified version of pen tool. It is new from Photoshop CC 2018. Add anchor point tool. Use the add anchor point tool to add additional anchor points along a path. Delete anchor point tool. You click on an existing anchor point along a path with the delete anchor point tool to remove those points. Convert point tool. On a path, click on a smooth anchor point with convert point tool to convert it to a corner point. Click a corner point to convert it a smooth point. Then we look at horizontal type tool. So horizontal type tool, known as simple as the type tool in Photoshop. Use the horizontal type tool to add standard type of text to your document. Then we have vertical type tool. The vertical type tool adds type vertically from top to bottom. Vertical type mask tool, like the vector mask tool, the horizontal type, the vertical type mask tool is for adding editable text to your document. The vertical type mask tool creates a selection outline in the shape of vertical type. Horizontal type mask is similar to the vertical type mask. The horizontal type mask tool creates a selection outline in the shape of type. However, the type is added horizontally rather than vertically. Then we have path selection tool. It uses the path selection tool, the black arrow in Photoshop, to select and move the entire path at once. Then we have direct selection tool, the white arrow to select and move an individual path segment, anchor point to direction handle. Okay, so we have the rectangle tool. The rectangle tool draws rectangular vector shapes, path and pixel shapes. So I have already discussed. So see, previously I was working and I changed it to round rectangle tool. So over here you see the dot. So that means this is the selected by a default. Otherwise, when you open a new Photoshop, rectangle tool is available to you. So rounded rectangle tool is similar to the standard rectangle tool but draws the shapes with rounded corners. Same, press and hold shift to draw the square with rounded corners. Then we have ellipse tool. The ellipse tool draws elliptical vector shape, paths or pixel shapes. Same, use press and hold shift as you drag and draw the perfect circle or ellipse. The polygon tool draws polygonal straight edge vector shapes, path or pixel shapes. Uses the sides option in the options bar to set the number of sides. Line tool draws straight lines either as shapes or paths. The weight option in the option bar controls the width of the line. Custom shape tool lets you select and draw custom shape. Choose from the Photoshop built-in custom shapes or create your own custom shape. Now we are going to look at the navigational tools. The first one is the hand tool. So the hand tool lets you click and drag an image around on the screen to view different area when zoomed in. Rotate view tool. Use the rotate view tool in Photoshop to rotate the canvas so you can view and edit the image from different angles. Zoom tool magnifies or zoom in on a specific area. Press and hold Alt and click with the zoom tool to zoom out. So if you select, for example, any polygonal lasso tool and you put your mouse over there, so it will tell you what tools you have already selected. So these are the common tools that we are going to use in our module. So go through it, practice those things, what are they, do explore the features and things with these tools that are already available in Adobe Photoshop. Okay, now the first tool that we are going to explore is the brush. So you will be able to locate it on the toolbar where is the brush tool located. So first of all I come over here and I will click on this brush tool. Okay, so you can create fun to design the initial shape of a brush, officially known as the brush tool. Okay, so we can add texture to the brush, scatter multiple copies of it along each brush stroke, combine two brushes together and add more. Adobe calls these options brush dynamics. And they are just amazing now as they were when Adobe first introduced them back in Photoshop 7. They also happen to be our topic for today, what we are going to explore. There are 6 main categories of brush dynamics: shape dynamic, scattering, texture, dual brush, color dynamics, and other dynamics, all of which are found in Photoshop brushes panel. Each one controls a different aspect of the brush as we paint with it, but the controls and options are similar for all six. So once we learn how things work for one, understanding the others will be much easier. Okay, so we are going to select the brush tool. To access any brush dynamics, you will be needing to open Photoshop brush panel. First, make sure you have the brush tool selected from the tools panel, or press the letter B to quickly grab it with the keyboard shortcut. Okay, so with the brush tool selected, the easiest way to open the brush panel is to either press F5 on your keyboard. Okay, very simple. If you want to close it, press F5 again, or click on the brush panel toggle icon in the option bar. If you can locate it over here, brush setting, brushes, so you can have all the options available for the image that you are working in. Here you will find all the brush panel. By the default, the brushes panel opens to the brush preset option. Okay, so these are called by default preset options. Okay, highlighted with blue. Okay, so in this mode, we all can do is to choose from the list of ready-made brushes on the panel. To choose any brush, simply click on its thumbnail from the list. If you have a tooltips enabled in Photoshop preferences, the name of each brush will appear as you hover your mouse cursor over those thumbnails. Okay, that is, as I move my cursor, so it says round sketch ballpoint pen. So if it is open, you will able to see what are those tools. A helpful preview area along at the bottom over here, it will give you the preview that how or show us what a brush stroke would look like with the current selected brush. We can use the master diameter slider below the list, okay, to change the size of the brush if all you want to do is to choose a brush and paint with it. Okay, so if you want, you can change the brush. Each brush, you can have multiple options available over here. Each of the brush preset is in the list on the right side of your panel with both a brush tip, the actual size of the brushes that we see in the brush thumbnail, and the pre-selected collection of brush dynamics that control the behavior of the brush as you paint it. The six categories of brush dynamics are shape dynamics, scattering, texture, and so on. So here you will see all the dynamics that are found along the left side of the brush panel. And if you keep an eye on these as you click on different brush thumbnails, for example this one, so if you keep an eye on these one, you see that different categories turn on. In this case it is not. So if you click on the scattered maple leaf, here is the scattering. I click on scattering. Here are the brushes that we can select. We can change the size from this slider bar, the pixels. Okay. So when we do that, we can enable all the brushes, dual type, and you can see the effect how this will work on your brush. However, if we choose a more basic brush like one of the Photoshop standard round brushes from the top of the list, only the shape dynamics. I want only the shape dynamic. This is the basic one is selected. So depending on whether you are not to have pen tablet installed on your computer, you may not see any brush dynamics category that are being selected. So just go on and explore how these texture will work. Okay, so we can draw something over here to make you understand the things. Okay, so you can explore the brush types, the settings, or different tool. So you can, so here you can, so here you can explore the different setting. Now you can practice each and everything, so you can have the hands-on experience on this brush tool when you are free. Now the thing that I need to explain you about are the layers. You can find all the brush options over here as well, like opacity, flow. So you have smoothing and other features. So you can explore from here the different things that are available with every tools that are available in the toolbar. Now the thing that I need to explain you are the layers. So on your right hand, you can able to see the options over here, the layers. So layer concept comes in when you are playing with an image having multiple things. Like for example, I want to have my core image as a background. Okay, so I want to add different objects or different pictures on top of it. So in order to do that, you have to add a new layer. So over here you have the options new layer. So you can name the layer, for example, test. So you can check what are the different options. If you want some color, use previous layer to create clipping mask and so on. So I'm just making this. So now we have created a new layer. So you can add on different layers. New layer. Okay, so layer 1. So if you double click on it, you can change the name of the layer as well. So this is test 2. Other than this, you can easily delete from here, like delete, you can add, you can create. So there is a lot of other ways you can do create layers on an image. For example, over here, this one I want to, for example, lock. Okay, so now this layer will be locked and I don't want the preview. So now you can see different layers. So this is the only one that I have selected over here. So if you click on here, you can see duplicate, you can delete the layers and so on. So I can delete this test 2. I don't need this one, so I can delete. Yes. And over here I can import an image. So you can download any image. Okay, so desktop. So I have already downloaded one image. I can just drag and drop over here. Excuse me. So depending upon the image size, it takes a bit time. Smaller image directly comes. So depending upon the image size. Okay, so now the image is available over here. So if I drag and drop over here, okay, so this by default it will not lose its shape. Okay, over here now the thing is your background image size is bigger than your image. So how to deal with this one? So okay, let's see. If you press shift, then it will allow you to resize. But if you look at over here, the blue things talks about. So if I don't want to see this one, I want to see the layer 1, I can see this one. And if I want to see both layers, now if you look at the background layer is merged and it is not viewable. So if I can drag and drop over here and see this one, so now this one is locked. And now I will change. So this is how you can change. Okay. And based on that, you can create your layers and you can add images on top of each other. Okay, so this is how we create layers. If you want to delete, we can delete the layer easily. We don't need this one. So this is our image. Now I want to save it. So I have told you how to create the brush. Now I have told you how to create the layers. Next, when we are going to discuss about layers in depth, so you will get an idea how different layers blend in and how to use the effects and these features that are already available over here, so like blending options and so on. So today just keep it as simple how to create this brush tool. Using brush tool we create an image. Now we have to save the file. So we have to save the file. It will ask you to save on the cloud or computer. I am going to save it on my computer. I don't need cloud. So I need desktop. Okay. So now this is our first file. So if you look at it over here, it saved the file in Photoshop.psd extension, Photoshop document. Okay, so this document is very useful because when you're going to do some editing in your image, so you need to have this PSD file. Though you can directly save it as an image, GIF or others, but better first save the file in PSD document, so it will be easier for you. I'm just clicking on the default values. I'm not doing anything. So I'm going to close it from here. So this is the first PSD file. I'm going to double click it. So it is taking time. From here I also can open it from the okay. So this is opened. So if you want, you can do save as with an JPG image. Save as. So like if you want to do some editing later on, so you can do that. So we are going to talk about this quality later on. So just today was brush and the concept of layers. Okay, so kindly do practice with brush and layers, and next time we are going to go deeper into the layers so it will be easier for you to understand the things. Thank you.